You're now tuned into the fourth season of Atypical Voices in Our Time, the official podcast of Chemistry Productions, a media education company. Let's get it started.
That's AVIOT.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? I'm Jay Stokes of the AVIOT. Great. I'm doing the first episode by myself in a while, and there I go messing up off the top. All right, but I'm Jay Stokes of the AVIOT podcast. It's nice to be with you all. Now, way back when on this whole AVIOT podcast platform, I had said that I wanted to do 2 episodes a week, one on Tuesday and one on Thursday. The first being by myself, the other being with my co-host Jay Random. And that's in order to cover more topics that are happening in the media and also just get more material out to you, those who are supporting our platform. So we appreciate you out there.
Yes, sir.
One thing I want to start with on this episode is going back to what I said on a previous episode, speaking about the Los Angeles fires, the fires that are spreading across Southern California and impacting the Los Angeles area.
What? There's only one.
And then there's the Hearst fire. Yeah, there's multiple things going on at the same time. Yeah,
I thought it was one.
Yeah, it's a big deal, man. It's a big deal.
Now, are they close enough to combine or no?
Yeah, of course. Jay Random had asked me, are these fires combining? And I had stated that, yeah, they probably can combine, or yeah, they're combining. I was wrong on that. While I maintain that some of these fires probably do have the ability to combine because you have little fires going on with the major fires, there are major fires that are happening in the Los Angeles area that are spread apart, I should say. One is the Palisades fire, the Hearst fire, the Eaton fire, and then you have the Auto fire. So these are all occurring. Unfortunately, the death toll for these that's happening as a result of these fires is increasing. And we're seeing that some people cannot be identified. We're seeing that people are being lost in these fires, and it's really unfortunate. Something that my co-host Jay Random had said on a previous episode was he was asking whether or not these fires were man-made, or he was questioning whether or not all of this was naturally occurring, that was happening due to global warming or due to the Los Angeles, Southern California environment. And what do you know? I find this article where it states that a homeless man was actually tackled by onlookers when they say they saw him using what appeared to be a flamethrower to start a blaze in the in the Woodland Hills area. So he was seen around Woodland Hills on a bicycle around January 9th in the afternoon, setting fire to several old Christmas trees and garbage cans at the same time that the Kenneth fire started. So the Kenneth fire is located in West Hills, California. This is a neighborhood in Los Angeles. So individuals said they saw him holding a large propane tank or a flamethrower, and he was trying to, I guess, set fire to an old Christmas tree and debris in the street. So this is very concerning because it kind of, for those people who are conspiracy theorists, it kind of adds more fuel to their fire, to the thoughts in their head, where it's like, okay, well, maybe this is a government conspiracy in order to push an agenda. Maybe they're trying to clear out an area. We don't know what's happening.
Nope.
I'm not going to say for certain that these fires are not naturally occurring. It could be a combination of both. You could have individuals like this homeless individual that were adding to the fires, and then you could have natural events that were happening as well. One thing that I saw was interesting in this article was one witness claimed the homeless individual was very focused on moving forward with what they described as being more of a blowtorch, setting fires to the area. And the homeless individual reportedly said, I can't stop, I'm not putting this down, I'm doing this.
Oh my Lord.
So thankfully, this homeless individual was taken into custody. There was a citizen's arrest. They had him on his knees and they had zip ties and they just subdued the individual. So we're glad that got taken care of. Now, speaking of the fires, a lot of people have been affected. As I said earlier, there are several individuals who have passed away, unfortunately. And you have a lot of people who have lost their homes, a lot of people whose families have to rebuild. One individual who was seen on TikTok was American TV personality and singer Heidi Montag. And she posted a video of herself crying. I guess her child was near her, comforting her. And she was crying, just thinking about how this fire had impacted her family, had impacted her life. And it made me think, because I'm not really a fan of people who cry online. I have mixed views about that. First, I think that certain things should be kept private. I feel that when you cry online, you open yourself up to the possibility of being bullied. And I don't think everything should be meant to share. However, I read an article that was speaking about crying online and why people do it. And part of the reason could be to have a connection with other people. Part of the reason could be to garner sympathy because of an event, something emotional that has happened to you. And the article that I read is called Here's Why. Oh, no. Sorry. Clicked on the wrong one. The article that I read was entitled, and I'm looking at my phone to get these notes, so sorry if I'm pausing a little bit. Why People Post Themselves Crying Online by Harmeet Kaur. The last name is Kaur, Harmeet, Harmeet. So, from what this article was saying is people want to find connection, people want to share their story because they want to garner sympathy from others. Sometimes they just want to have a community. Sometimes they want to help other individuals out by crying and sharing their stories. They feel that they could connect to others who also feel emotional about certain situations. And they also want to just provide that comfort, that unity. There are certain people that cry online just to get attention. They might cry about the silliest things and they just want to grow their social media following. It is a slippery slope because on one end, you have individuals that are genuinely crying online. Then on the other end, you have individuals who have an agenda. I don't know what Heidi Montag sought to gain. Maybe she did want sympathy from individuals. Maybe she did want to connect with others who might feel the same pain when it came to these fires that are happening in LA. We don't know. All I know is she was crying online. And unfortunately, what I didn't like was I saw in the comment section, there were a lot of Palestinian flags. And people were saying, Free Palestine. Oh, now you know how it feels to suffer, just like the people in Gaza have been suffering.
Wow.
Allah is pleased with this. And that is really unfortunate. That is downright despicable.
Yes.
Everyone has their own struggle. I'm not going to be here doing comparative suffering. However, we're in America. Individuals are losing their homes, their livelihood, things they have worked to build over the years. And here you are trying to take away from that moment and talking about something that's happening on another side of the world. That's not to take away what's happening in Palestine to the Palestinians over there, the people in Gaza. I'm against genocide. I'm against war in general. I'm against all the destruction that's happening. However, you got to have compassion. You got to have sympathy, because by not doing that, you're going to take away from your cause. You're going to have people looking at you sideways when you say Free Palestine. They're going to be like, nah, because you only want us to focus on that, but you don't want to focus on anything else that's going on. It's not right. And these individuals who are in the comment section, no matter how many there were, they do not represent all Palestinians. What I will say, though, and I'm going to have Travis Washington on. I've been in contact with him, so we're trying to get a date where we can actually talk about the Palestine situation further. Because after the election of Donald Trump, we saw coming out in polls that there were a lot of Arab and Muslim Americans that actually voted for Trump. There were some that abstained from voting for Harris because they felt that she didn't take a strong enough stance with the Gaza situation or with trying to protect Palestinians. And my response is, do you really think Trump's going to do any better? If you're listening to the AVIOT podcast on a streaming service, make sure to leave a rating and a review so we can grow our platform. He's pro-Israel. You really think that by him being in office, you have a chance at getting your point across when it comes to Palestine? Outside of that, as a black individual, I'm looking at those who voted for Trump and I'm saying, you know, you're voting against my best interest. You abstaining from the election is against my best interest. And while we know how American politics are, we know how America has been towards black individuals, we cannot take away from the fact that with a Harris presidency, we could potentially move somewhere towards bettering the condition for black individuals. On top of that, I have to look at the reality of the situation that anti-blackness is global.
That's correct.
And a lot of the faces I've seen with the Palestine situation are white-looking Arabs, or what I like to call red Arabs. And red Arabs would be like an Aladdin figure, someone with that Aladdin complexion from the Disney movies. However, there is anti-black sentiment against Afro-Palestinians in Palestine, to the point where you have lighter-skinned Palestinians that don't want to marry darker-skinned Palestinians or Afro-Palestinians. The Afro-Palestinians are dealing with discrimination from Palestinians and Israelis. That is a fact. So we can't move away from that.
No.
And all I'm saying is, for those of y'all who are pro-Palestine and supporting Trump, I don't understand it. But hey, good luck. Speaking of Trump supporters, I actually want to go into this whole Meta or Facebook and DEI situation. So Mark Zuckerberg's Meta is terminating major DEI, which stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, effective immediately, including for hiring, training, and picking suppliers. In recent years, the term DEI has become a charged term because many individuals believe that it is a practice that suggests preferential treatment to some groups over others. To this, I always have to laugh and say, y'all act as if white people haven't gotten preferential treatment in this country since the beginning of the country's inception. Y'all mad because there are procedures in place in order to make sure that non-whites and non-white men are able to succeed in this country. Okay. It's really sad. So Meta will no longer have a team focused on DEI, and Meta will instead build programs that focus on how to apply fair and consistent practices that mitigate bias for all, no matter your background. Finally, while Meta will continue to source candidates from different backgrounds, it will no longer use the diverse slate hiring approach, which ensures a diverse pool of candidates is considered for every open position. Yeah, it's nice that they're saying all these things now. Now, I got this information from, I believe, an Axios article, and it's nice that they're saying all these things, but let's just be honest. This is only going to benefit white men, those who uphold white supremacy. That's what it's all about. Mark Zuckerberg has played his hand, and he's aligning himself with Trump. And a lot of Trump's platform is surrounding white supremacy, anything that is propping up white individuals or those who praise white individuals. And speaking of Mark Zuckerberg, I find it funny how he's talking about, oh yeah, well, we're still going to be hiring diversely. We're just doing away with the DEI policies. But then you're the same man who says Meta needs to, reportedly, Mark Zuckerberg's the same man that reportedly said Meta needs more masculine energy and that the company's culture has been neutered in the past few years. All right. Which is funny too, because from what I've read, reports indicate that more Facebook users are women than men.
Wow.
So you're alienating your population, man. The population that supports your platform the most. It's very interesting. With that being said, let's get into updates. All right, so I think for my first time back doing this by myself for a while, I'm doing decently. And this past Sunday, I was actually going to do the Sunday brew by myself because, unfortunately, I woke up late. That's on me. I woke up late, and Jay Random, he only had capacity to start the Sunday brew at 9. I woke up at like 9:50, and I said, hey, we can always do a later time. He said, nah, I'm be busy for today. So that's on me. And it's because, hey, I was doing my husband duties the day before, night before. I was out with the wife, and we're hanging out, just enjoying each other's company. So if I gotta miss a Sunday brew because of that, so be it. With that being said, I am trying to be more responsible when it comes to this platform. For those of you who are wondering what's going on with Chemistry Productions, the AVIOT podcast. I always feel like I have to give a rundown every single episode until people can really understand it. And I'm probably gonna have to make a video in the future that explains the different branches of Chemistry Productions, how this all works. Chemistry Productions is a media education company. The AVIOT podcast is the official podcast of Chemistry Productions. So here we just give our unfiltered opinions on different situations that are happening. A part of media education is creating media as well. So we at Chemistry Productions create media through our podcast, through the videos we put out. I also have other ideas of what I want to do with this company going forward this year. I've been getting out of a funk to begin the year 2025. A lot of things have happened to begin the year. A lot of information I came across. Obviously, the New Orleans event really impacted me just because I just feel bad when the new year comes in and then you have individuals who just want to terrorize others. It's really unfortunate. And I keep using the word unfortunate. I want to use harsher language. However, I feel it's best to be somewhat responsible. So I can give an unfiltered take on something, but still be responsible. A lot of people say, we're unfiltered, but then they're irresponsible in their language. So I say unfortunate. It's terrible that happened to those individuals in New Orleans on New Year's Day. You also look at the new upcoming presidential administration. A lot of people are afraid. And we're seeing a lot of these changes. I'm actually going to speak more on some of the changes that administration's trying to get behind now in the topic of the day. But you see a lot of the changes that are happening and people are scared. You have the abortion ban. You have a lot of issues regarding money. Whether they're going to be increases in taxes, increases in the prices of different items. Policing. Policing has always been a problem in this country, but you really think it's going to get better under the Trump administration? I really wish the best for you all that are suffering out there. I would offer thoughts and prayers, but that's so cliche. All I can say is do your best to get prepared. Get prepared for a possible another pandemic. Be on the lookout for any diseases that are on the rise in other countries that might make their way over here. I know Mpox, you have they call bird flu, H1N1 virus. You have that going on. So just be prepared for that. Just do what you can to protect yourself and your families. I think that's the best course of action, just to prep yourself. So there's that. But I'm getting out of that funk and I'm starting to create content. I really have to give a lot of credit to my wife for pushing me to keep going, because with this platform right here, AVI Podcast, Chemistry Productions, sometimes it's a little difficult when you feel like you're really trying to make a difference out there and really trying to change, not necessarily the world, but just communities or community, trying to build a community of forward-thinking people who are really trying to do the right thing, who are taking actionable steps. And you feel that it's hard to build that community. Now, there are different comments on our posts on social media. There are people who reach out to us, and that's great. It's great to know that we're making a difference in that regard. I believe that our impact could be greater, but you know what? I'm going to count my blessings. I'm going to be grateful for what we have done thus far and look forward to what we're doing going forward. With that being said, we have goals this year. And the goals are to reach 10K on YouTube. Right now we're at 4,000 and something. 10K on Instagram. Seems like we're losing followers every day.
Damn.
And I'm trying to figure out how to grow that. Maybe I got to start getting on Instagram Live or something. Maybe that'll be what's going on. I'm not even focused on TikTok anymore, because with this looming TikTok ban that's supposed to happen on the 19th, I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket there. It'd be nice for TikTok to stay around and grow, because when we're talking about threats to national security, when we're talking about all of this, I guess, these feelings about, I guess, Chinese individuals or Chinese government spying on Americans, listen, we already had Russian collusion when it came to Facebook. People in other countries are making their ways to get inside of the minds of American individuals and to hack into American systems. TikTok is, I don't think TikTok is that big of a deal. I just think America just has an issue with foreign companies having a large presence in America when America can't dictate the terms of what's happening.
Yes.
So there's that. We also want to get to 30K on Facebook. Right now we're on 12K. We're at 12K subscribers to our Facebook page. And it's not all about the numbers, but it is all about the numbers. What do I mean by that? It's not all about the numbers, meaning that you can have a lot of subscribers, a lot of followers, but then not a lot of engagement. It is about the numbers when it comes to trying to pitch yourself to other individuals or for people to take you seriously, unfortunately. If I go to an event and I'm trying to push Chemistry Productions or the AVIOT podcast, and I'm saying, hey, I have this platform that I'm a part of that's really putting out solid work and we have a large following. Can you invest in us, or can we be invited on your platform? Or would you mind coming onto our platform to speak with us? When you have the numbers, that makes more of an impact as opposed to being a fledgling organization or fledgling company. So, like I said, it's not about the numbers, but it is about the numbers. So there's that. I had also my notes too that we're making the YouTube page for Chemistry Productions our official web page for the time being. So any messages, you can look to our community section and we'll have messages there talking about whether or not shows are canceled, what's going on, what events we have going on. I'm even going to start posting the podcast episodes, the links to them there. I still have to work on trying to do the podcast videos right now. Since my wife and I, we moved into our new area of residence, we're still trying to furnish the place, and with that being said, it's kind of hard for me to work. Like even right now I'm recording the podcast on the ground in the closet.
Wow.
Because I don't have a chair or a desk. So there's that going on. Another thing too, pivoting into something that many of you, if you followed our social media, have seen, we're supporting women's basketball quite a bit. I feel that over the years, women's basketball has gotten a bad rep, and I've always watched women's basketball since I was young. I actually learned how to do certain moves from female basketball players watching them play in the NCAA tournament. Diana Taurasi, I learned how to hop step with her. Maya Moore, I watched her. Now, I'm from Connecticut, so UConn is going to be my big reference point. Although I will say Arike Ogunbowale, I did start following her after she broke my heart when she hit that game-winning shot to eliminate UConn the year her team at Notre Dame won the championship. So I've been following women's basketball for quite some time. And I feel that with the popularity of women's basketball, and I don't mean to get too much into sports because, like I say, I always save that for the sports talk with Tay, my sister, or I save that for Sunday Brew because we try to move sports in another direction just because with sports, that's a whole nother area of media on its own. So I try not to combine it with this particular podcast. But with the rise in popularity of women's basketball due to certain players who have entered the WNBA or have come on the scene or who have gained more notoriety in women's college basketball, you have a lot of people out there that are trying to capitalize off of this. And I think they're doing so in bad faith. I think they're just trying to make money off of it. And they're not necessarily representing women's basketball well.
No.
And I also believe that when it comes to women's basketball, there is underlying racism there to where Black individuals who are top tier talent don't often get praised and they don't often get the recognition they deserve. And so our Chemistry Productions platform, we've been trying to spread positive messages about women's basketball and correct a lot of the opinions about women's basketball that are incorrect.
News.
I'll just leave it there. If you followed our content, you know what I'm talking about. And this past week, I live skeeted on Blue Sky, which is live posting. The recent game between, I think it was NC State and Stanford. And so we're trying to do more of that to get more engagement and to really bring more attention to women's basketball in a positive way. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Just hurrying up so I can get to the topic of the day. I believe that the chemistry productions platform is going to be really important going forward when it comes to fact checking. You see that Meta is getting rid of their fact checking system, and instead, I think they're going to try and do like a community notes section, like how Twitter/X has. I've deleted my Twitter/X account and for the company, so we don't know what's going on Twitter or X. I only see messages when they pop up on YouTube or when family members send me messages, or if I see it on maybe Blue Sky or Threads, they'll pop up. It just got too toxic on there. And while all these platforms have problems with it, I mean, Mark Zuckerberg is over Threads, Instagram, and Facebook/Meta. So there you have it. X was just a whole nother ball game. So I wasn't feeling that at all. So speaking of fact checking, we got to get into the topic of the day. So in case you all haven't heard, over the last 2.5 years, 19 states, home to more than a third of Americans, have passed laws that require pornography websites to confirm a user's age by checking a government-issued ID or scanning their face, among other methods. The new laws, which have been pushed by allies of President-elect Donald Trump, have led some of the largest adult sites, including Pornhub, to block users from specific states rather than paying millions for ID checking services. So basically, what some states want you to do is put your government ID information or send a picture of your government ID to these pornographic databases in order to verify that you're an adult, because they don't want children or minors getting onto these websites. I don't know if y'all have ever heard about the Ashley Madison scandal, with that being a site where married individuals can find other individuals and have affairs on their spouses, and they put their information into the Ashley Madison website. There was a big data breach and all the names got out.
Damn.
People don't want to share their information when it comes to these private activities that they engage in, because there is a chance that there can be a data breach. I mean, listen, our data is being collected all the time. However, if there's a way you can try and limit how much data is being collected, I definitely advise you do that.
Yes.
I don't think people are going to be comfortable sharing information that says, hey, I'm about to look at nude photos of somebody. I'm about to look at people having sex with one another. So let me give you my information to tell you that I am looking at this right now. And you can have my face, my date of birth, my name. Like, no, there needs to be privacy in that department. Oh my goodness. So I believe next week or coming up, the Supreme Court will hear a challenge to the constitutionality of the new laws, setting up a battle over free speech, censorship, and how to protect kids online. So to supporters of this pornography fact-checking system or potential ban, the restrictions in the age verification laws are common sense measures to prevent children from seeing explicit content. However, critics say that the push to restrict porn undermines free speech protections and infringes on privacy rights. Here's my thing. If we're really trying to protect children and we're trying to keep them safe, help them develop in a healthy way, I don't believe that restricting their access to seeing porn is the first area that we should go to.
And now for a quick commercial break.
Hey guys, as you can hear, we are unapologetic in our opinions. We may be politically incorrect or possibly wrong, but don't knock us for being ourselves and saying what many are too afraid to admit out loud. Anyways, if you have any thoughts or questions about our show, email us at chemistryproductions@gmail.com. That's K3MISTRY productions@gmail.com. We'll be sure to address whatever you have to say.
Now, granted, children should not be seeing porn. Children should not be watching sexually explicit materials.
Nope.
It is what it is. There are other ways I don't know of yet. I do believe, though, that there are other ways. When I say I don't know of yet, I think I'm talking more towards being online and searching for the content. But I think there's other ways that we can help children in this department and we can protect children. One being education. We have to educate kids in school about certain websites they shouldn't be visiting, and how to, I guess, navigate the online areas, because the fact of the matter is a lot of kids have smartphones nowadays and they can see anything. And with this over sexualized culture that we have now, they're going to see something sexually explicit. There is something to say about how America is over sexualized. I do believe so. I do believe everything's about sex nowadays. Everything. You hear it in the music all the time. You see it in movies. You see it on television. Like the forced kissing scenes and the forced sex scenes, I be feeling uncomfortable. I'd rather just watch porn than watch these sex scenes in movies. Sometimes I'm just like, nah, this is very awkward. Like seriously, that's what it is there. Also, too, where are the parents? We've lost the ability to hold parents accountable for how their children are turning out. Now, I understand that you have a lot of parents that are working multiple jobs and not able to be with their children 24/7. And then you also have the fact that kids have friends who have irresponsible parents who are going to allow them to watch sexually explicit materials, and then they might share it with their friends, and then they're going to come across it anyway, right? But still, I believe that parents play a role. We have to do a better job at equipping parents with the tools to teach their children right from wrong, what material not to look at, and what material is okay. Putting parental blockers on the children's smart devices would be very helpful. Maybe we can work toward the technology to make that more of a thing. And speaking of protecting kids, we have to look at things outside of online. Now, granted, there are other areas online that are dangerous, right? You got AI. So kids could be talking to different individuals online that might be pretending to be kids and lure them into a trap, right? How to catch a predator is a thing.
Yes.
Outside of that, are we protecting kids in schools? We still have school shootings going on. What about that? I think that's an area I would focus on more than the pornography area. Are we protecting kids in Catholic churches? A lot of these conservatives who are supporting these pornography bans or these ID checking on pornography, last I checked, a lot of them are Catholic. And a lot of these priests, to this day, are still molesting and harming young individuals. What's going on there? There are other areas where we could focus on in order to protect children. We're not even protecting children from other adults, if we're being honest. But y'all want to limit pornography, which is actually going to impact adult individuals more than children, if you ask me. And me, I'm pro sex work, but I understand the sex industry needs to have a facelift because you have a lot of sex trafficking that goes on there. Child exploitation is going on in the sex industry. So yeah, that is a thing that needs to be handled. But banning pornography, I think it's going to cause more harm than good. And people are going to circumvent that anyway. People are going to go to their VPNs and try and find ways to get around, or they're going to go to the dark web. People are going to find a way to look at sexually explicit material. Shoot, you go to Instagram, you're going to see sexually explicit material. You go to Instagram, women are pretty much naked on there. Seriously, you can find pornography anywhere. It's not just online. If you're talking about protecting kids, if kids want to find something, they're going to find something. I want to also mention that this whole pornography thing is part of Project 2025's more than... All right, so Project 2025. So Project 2025's more than 900-page policy memo declares that pornography should be outlawed and argues that people who produce and distribute it should be imprisoned, and says companies that facilitate its spread should be shuttered. Ooh. I find it funny how we're focused on Project 2025 here and talking about pornography when a lot of Trump's legal troubles have come at the hands of a pornographic film actress, Stormy Daniels. Seems a bit hypocritical, don't you think? With that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. We'll see y'all, or you will hear from us on Thursday. So I'm gonna try and get this out tonight. I'm actually recording this on Thursday, January 14th. Tuesday, January 14th. And then we're gonna try and get an episode out on Thursday. and just stick to the plan. I am getting out of my funk, and I will do my best to deliver y'all the goods. So make sure to subscribe to our channels, make sure to subscribe to the podcast, listen to our streams, comment, email us with some thoughtful questions. And with that being said, you'll hear from us on Thursday. All right, y'all.
So go a little something like this. That's AVIOT.